All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started today on our mats. Just having a seat, however's comfortable. You can have legs crossed, you can have feet out, hands down by your side, resting on your lap. And then we'll go ahead and close our eyes. Start to focus on our breath. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Taking as deep an inhale and exhale as is comfortable. Starting to let the day go. Starting to prepare the mind for the practice that we're about to do. Bringing ourselves into our rooms and onto our mats. Take these next few minutes to just focus on the breath. Feeling it moving into the body with each inhale. And then leaving the body with each exhale. Taking a few more breaths here. Take one more deep inhale and exhale it out. We'll continue to keep the eyes closed if it's comfortable. If we want to open them slightly, we can. We'll take the arms, place them down by the sides. And as we inhale, we're going to bring the arms up, straight overhead. As we exhale, drop that left hand down onto the mat and just fold over that left side. Getting a nice stretch in that right side body. Letting the head just relax, letting the neck just relax. Trying not to push up into that left shoulder, just letting the arm relax. Taking deep inhales and exhales. And on our next inhale, we'll bring ourselves back up, bringing that left arm up. As we exhale, drop the right hand down, leaning over that right side. Again, trying to relax the shoulder down, relaxing the neck. Taking the deep inhales and exhales. We'll take one more inhale and exhale. And the next inhale, bringing ourselves back up, bringing that right arm up. Taking a breath here with the hands up. And on the next inhale, we'll start to twist towards the left, bringing the arms down. Taking that right arm, placing it right on the outside of that left knee. Bringing the gaze over that back shoulder. gently into this twist. Trying to breathe deeply here, filling the lungs in our twist. And on that next inhale, bringing those arms back up and forward. And as we exhale, bringing the arms down, twisting over to that right side. And bringing the gaze behind that shoulder or over the shoulder. Again, breathing deeply into the twist. And on that next inhale, bringing those arms up, bringing ourselves back forward. If we have it, we can go ahead and open the eyes here. And as we exhale, drop those arms back down. And we'll come up onto our hands and our knees. So take a minute here. We'll line the wrists up under the shoulders. Lining those knees up under the hips. Letting those feet tops rest on the mat. We'll take an inhale, dropping the belly down towards the mat, bringing the gaze up towards the ceiling. As we exhale, roll the spine up, tucking the chin into the chest. Inhale, dropping that belly down, gaze going up. Exhale, rolling that spine. Inhale, dropping down. Exhale, rolling up. And we'll do it one more time. Inhale, drop the belly down. Exhale, rolling that spine up. And as we go ahead and inhale, we'll just bring ourselves back into that neutral spine. Take a second if the alignment has come off from those wrists. Put those wrists right under those shoulders. We're going to take the right hand, reach it up to the sky. And as we exhale, we're going to thread it through the left arm and knee, dropping that face on the mat. Taking that left hand, either rolling it over the lower back or taking that hand, stretching it straight out in front of us. Taking those deep breaths here. And we'll take that left hand, place it right by the face. Slowly start to push ourselves up, bringing that right hand out. Placing both hands on the mat. Taking a second to line up those wrists and shoulders. And then we'll take that left hand, reach it straight up towards the sky. And exhale, threading it through the right hand and wrist. Dropping that cheek onto the mat. Taking that right hand, either placing it on the lower back or taking it and stretching it straight out in front. And again, taking those deep inhales and exhales. And we'll take that right hand, place it right by the face. Slowly start to push ourselves back up, placing those hands back on the mat. We'll tuck those big toes so they're touching together. Slowly sink those hips down onto the heels, dropping the forehead onto the mat. Arms can be straight out in front of us, or to give the shoulders a little rest, we can have them down by the legs. Whatever's comfortable to you. Always taking deep inhales and exhales. Just a few more breaths here. And on the next inhale, we're going to bring ourselves back up to all fours. We're going to tuck those toes onto the mat and slowly start to lift the hips up towards the ceiling into our first down dog. Those fingers are nice and wide on the mat. Shoulders are coming straight, or arms are coming straight out from the shoulders. The legs or the feet can be wide on the mat. You can have a bend in the knees, whatever's comfortable in the backs of those legs. And take a second to pedal each of those feet out, dropping one heel down, switching to the other, maybe holding one side a little bit longer. Starting to loosen up the backs of those legs. And then let those feet go ahead and come into stillness. Take a breath here. And on the next inhale, walk the feet up to the hands. Fold over those legs with a little bend in those knees. Take the hands, place them on the thigh. Slowly roll yourself all the way to standing. One vertebrae stacking on the other. And the head and neck come up last, rolling the shoulders back and down. Taking a breath here. And as we inhale, we bring the hands up. Exhale, swan dive ourselves forward over the legs. Inhale, half lifting, so slide those hands right under the knees. Exhale down. And inhale, come all the way up to standing. Bringing those arms up with us. Exhale, dropping them down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive over those legs. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Bring those arms up. Exhaling, arms down. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, swan dive over the legs. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Exhale the arms down. All right, we'll add just a little bit more. So inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan diving forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step the feet back to a high plank. or drop down onto the knees. As we exhale, we come all the way onto the mat. Inhale, just lifting that chest. Exhaling down. Inhale, push back to down dog so we can go through all fours here. Take a breath in our down dog. And on the next inhale, walk the feet up to the hands. Holding over the legs. And inhale, come all the way up. Exhale the arms down. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, swan diving forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step back to a high plank or onto the knees. Exhale all the way onto the mat. Inhale, just lifting that chest. Exhale down. Inhale, back to down dog. Take that breath. And on the next inhale, walk the feet up to the hands. Fold over those legs. And inhale all the way up. Exhaling the arms down. Do it one more time. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, swan diving forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step back to that high plank or onto the knees. Exhale all the way onto the mat. Inhale, just lifting that chest. Exhale down. Inhale back to down dog. And we'll hold this down dog for just a little bit longer. Taking those deep inhales and exhales. Again, if we need to pedal those feet out, feel free. And go ahead and let those feet come into stillness. Take a couple breaths. And on the next inhale, we'll lift up our right leg. So we'll put a bend in that right knee. As we exhale, we're going to sweep the leg forward like we're going to drop it down, but come into a plank, holding that knee up. And we'll exhale, pushing the leg back. Putting that bend in the knee. Inhale, sweeping it forward, hovering it over the mat. Exhale, pushing it back. And one more time. Inhale, bringing that knee, hovering it over the mat. Exhale, sweeping it back. And this time as we inhale, we're going to bring that leg, that foot, dropping it between those toes. And we'll drop down on that back knee. Untuck those toes. Take those hands and place them on the thigh. Slowly bring ourselves up. So take a second if we need to adjust those front toes at all. Want to make sure that that knee is not going over those toes. And we'll take the hands, just place them right here on the knee. Kind of take the right hand, place it on top of the knee. Take the left hand, place it on the right hand. And we'll just stay right here for just a couple breaths. You should feel a pretty deep stretch in that left hip. We'll take a few breaths here. Remembering to focus on the breath, help us get us through the poses. And we'll slowly take the hands, placing them down on the mat in front of that, or beside the foot. We'll tuck that back toe, start to push up off the mat, start to hop that back foot forward just a little bit, kind of turning those toes so they're a little bit sideways and placing that heel on the ground. We'll keep the bend in the front leg, place the hands on the thigh, slowly start to lift ourselves up. We'll take a second here, make sure those hips are nice and square, facing forward. Once we feel that, we'll straighten that front leg. Inhale the arms up. And as we exhale, we're gonna fold over that straight front leg. We can have a bend in the knee if the stretch is too much with the straight leg. The hands can be up on the shin. It can be up on the thigh. It can be holding the ankle or on the mat on each side of the foot. Or if we have blocks or books or pillows or something, you can also put those on each side of the foot to place the hands on there. And we'll hold this for just a little bit to allow those hamstrings to loosen up. This is a good pose to start to try to focus on the breath. Take our mind off of the deep stretch that's going on with that leg. Breathing deeply here. Feeling the breath go to the back of that leg. Make sure you're not clenching the toes down. So just kind of wiggle them and then just set them back on the mat. And take a few more breaths. And we'll slowly put a bend in that front leg. Rotate up on those back toes on that left foot. Kind of shimmy that right foot over to that right hand a little bit so you have a little bit of a wider stance. And then we'll slowly start to take the hands, place them again on that thigh, bringing ourselves up so we're into a nice high lunge here. So if we need to adjust the stance a little bit now that we're standing, we can shift those feet around. Again, we want to make sure those hips are nice and parallel, facing forward. And when we feel steady, we'll inhale and bring the arms up. And we'll stay straight up and down today, not adding in that back bend. Give those lower backs just a little bit of a rest this week. Taking deep inhales and exhales. And take just a few more breaths here. And as we exhale, we'll bring the arms down. We'll slowly rotate that back foot so it comes parallel with the mat. And then again, take this second to walk that right foot over. So we're no longer parallel. We want that heel about in line with the middle of that back foot. And we can come out of the pose if we need to and get back in if it's a little bit easier. This time our hips are going to be facing now to the side, but are still going to stay parallel with each other. So we can take the hands, place them on the hips, make sure they're even. And then we'll place a bend in that front knee. Bring those arms out so they're parallel over those legs. Bring that gaze over that front middle finger. Making sure to keep the arms straight up and down, so we don't want them dropping down. And we want that knee right over that ankle. So taking those deep inhales and exhales here. Just a couple more breaths. And we'll slowly start to straighten that front leg. We can release the arms down. We'll take that front foot, rotate it so it's parallel, and then take a second to line those toes up so they're in a straight line with each other. And we'll inhale, bring the arms up. And as we exhale, slowly just start to let ourselves fold over those legs. And just let the arms fall wherever they're at. Let the head hang. If we need to circle the head, maybe shake it yes or shake it no. And then just let it hang. And take those deep inhales and exhales. And we'll slowly start to walk the hands over to that right foot. So we want to try to keep the legs or the knees straight, but if we need to put a bend in that right knee to get over there, we can do that. And we should start to feel a stretch down that whole right leg. So we're just giving ourselves just a little twist in the upper back here, and then feeling that whole stretch down that right leg. Maybe on that inner thigh a little bit more. And taking those deep breaths here. And we'll slowly start to walk the hands back center. Taking one inhale and exhale here. And then slowly starting to walk the hands over to the front of the mat, twisting those feet around. And then stepping that front leg back into a down dog. Taking a second here. Maybe feeling the difference between the legs. Maybe that right leg's now a little bit looser than that left leg. Taking the deep inhales and exhales. And on that next inhale, we'll lift that left leg. And as we exhale, we're going to bring that knee to the chest, letting it hover over the mat. And exhale, pushing it back. Inhale, bring that knee hovering over the mat. And exhale, push it back. And we'll do one more. Inhale, hovering it over the mat. And exhale, pushing that leg back. And this time we're going to inhale, bringing that foot all the way down, dropping it between the thumbs. And then dropping that right foot down. Untuck those toes. We'll take the hands, place them up on that thigh, bring ourselves up. And again, if we need to scoot that foot out so that knee's not over those toes. This time we'll take the left hand, place it on the bottom, take the right hand, place it on top of that left. And we'll just hold this just for a few breaths. Feeling that stretch in that right hip. Sending the breath into those legs. Just a few more breaths here. And slowly taking those hands, placing them on the mat. And we'll tuck those back toes, pop up off of that knee, pop that back foot forward just a little bit, rotate that heel so it's down on the mat with those toes pointed off to that angle. Taking the hands, placing them on that thigh, bringing ourselves up to standing. So taking a second to make sure those hips are nice and even and facing forward. When we feel ready, we'll straighten that front leg. Inhale the arms up. And exhale, fold over that straight leg. Again, we can always have a bend in the knee. The hands again can be on the ankle, on the shin, or up on the thigh. Or if we have blocks or pillows or books, we can place them on each side of the foot and place the hands right there. Again, we'll hold this one for just a little bit to allow all those hamstrings to loosen up. So send the breath into the back of the leg. And we use this pose to concentrate on that breath. Make sure those toes aren't clenching down, so give them a little bit of a wiggle and then place them back down. Inhaling deeply, exhaling deeply. Taking just a few more breaths here. And we'll go ahead and put a bend in that front knee. Come up on those back toes. Take a second to walk that left foot a little over to the side. So we're on that parallel track here. Taking those hands, placing them on that thigh, giving ourselves that help up. Again, taking that second while we're now up and standing to adjust the feet if we need to. Again, making sure those hips are nice and even and facing forward. And when we feel ready, we'll inhale, sweep those arms up. And again, we'll keep ourselves just up and down today. Taking those deep inhales and exhales. And on that next exhale, we'll bring the arms down. We'll take that back foot, rotate it so it's parallel with the mat. And again, step that right foot over. We need to come out of the pose to get back in, and we can do that. So now our heel is in line with about the middle of that back foot. Our hips now, we still want them even, but pointing over to the side. And we'll take that bend in that front knee, making sure that knee is right over that ankle. Bringing the arms out, gaze over that front middle finger. Making sure to keep those arms nice and parallel. And again, breathing deeply. Taking just a few more breaths here. And we'll straighten that front leg, release the arms down, rotate that front foot so it's also facing that parallel, and taking that second to line up those toes. And we'll inhale the arms up. And as we exhale, fold over those legs, letting the arms hang. Again, letting the head just hang. Then we can do some head circles. And shake that head, yes. Shake it, no. And then just let it hang. And we'll slowly start to walk those hands over to that left leg. Trying to keep those knees straight, but if we need to put a bend in that front left leg to get over there, we can. Feeling that stretch down that whole left side of that leg. Maybe on that inner thigh. And breathing into the leg. We'll take a few more breaths. And slowly start to walk the hands back to the middle. And we'll heel toe the feet so they're coming back towards center. So we're bringing ourselves up into a forward fold. And we'll keep the feet about a hip distance or shoulder distance apart. And try to keep them so they're even on the mat. So we still want to try to keep those toes in line. And we're slowly going to start to squat down. So your heels are probably going to come up off the mat, which is okay. So we'll slowly start to drop the hips down like we're coming into a sitting position onto the chair. And then slowly start to sink the hips lower so the hips are coming down, kind of resting on the backs of those legs. So we're just in this deep squat here. And we're going to go into a little bit of a balance here from this squat. So like I said, if the toes are the only thing that's on the mat, that's fine. Sometimes the Achilles tendon is just not loose enough, and it may never get loose enough to get all those feet down. So that's okay. So from here, we're going to start to try to find that spot that's on the floor that's not moving to help with our balance. And we'll slowly start to lift the hands up off the floor, bringing the torso up so that back goes up a little bit straighter. And if we can, we're going to bring the hands together and just place them right in front of the heart. So we're almost balancing on those toes, on those feet if they're all the way down. And we're breathing into it. So we should feel the stretch in the ankles, in the calves, in the feet. And we'll hold it for just a couple more breaths. And then we'll slowly release the hands back down onto the mat, bringing the torso back down. And slowly start to lift the feet up, bring ourselves into that forward fold. And take a second and shake those legs out, bring those feelings back into those toes. Let that blood rush back down. Shake each leg out. And then in our fold, we'll just kind of let the legs, if we need to kind of rock back and forth or roll the feet around, or you can even bend one knee and then bend the other knee, lifting the heels up off the mat. And then placing the heels back down. And then we'll slowly step each foot back into our down dog. Taking a breath here. And then we're going to bring our right knee forward in between the hands, dropping it onto the mat. And then we'll slowly step this left foot back, untucking the toes, placing the leg so it's straight out behind us. And we're kind of on that right knee. So the right knee can be facing straight forward, or you can have the shin so it's parallel with the mat, whatever's comfortable. And we can stay right here. We may feel that stretch deep in that hip right here. Trying to keep those hips even so we don't want to roll onto that right hip. So if you have a pillow or a towel, you can place that under that hip. If we're not feeling much of a stretch here, we can slowly come down onto the elbows. And maybe we stay here at the elbows because this is where we're going to feel the stretch. If we still feel like we want to go deeper into the pose, we can drop the head onto the hands, stacked hands. You can drop it onto one hand or come all the way down to the mat. Again, remembering to keep those hips nice and even. Trying not to let that right hip roll down. Breathing deeply into the stretch. If at any point you need to back out of it and come to a higher position, feel free. And give those toes a little bit of a wiggle and let them rest. And take just a few breaths here. And if we have that head on the mat, we'll slowly start to lift it up, bringing those elbows in, placing those hands right where the elbows were, bringing ourselves up. And we're slowly just roll onto that right hip. Sweep that left leg around. We'll kick that right leg out. Give that leg a wiggle. Give those toes a wiggle. And we'll slowly move on to that other side. So however we want to get into this position, sometimes coming up on a hands and knees, and then straightening that right foot out, and then bringing that knee of that left leg forward. We can do that way. Dropping that right foot down. Again, remembering to keep those hips nice and even, and that right foot's coming straight out behind you. Again, we can stay right here, up on the hands. If we want a little bit more of a stretch, we can drop onto those elbows. And if we need even more of a stretch, we can come down onto those stacked hands. Maybe forehead just on one hand, or directly onto the mat. Whatever's comfortable. Again, remembering to keep those hips nice and even. And taking those deep breaths. And give those toes just a little bit of a wiggle. And then just let them rest. Again, if we need to come to a higher position at any point during the pose, feel free. We're going to breathe deeply, sending the breath into that hip. And if we have that forehead on the mat, we'll slowly start to lift it up, bringing those elbows in, placing those hands right where those elbows were, coming up onto the hands, and then slowly starting to roll down on that left hip. Swing that right foot around, swing that left foot around, and we'll give that left leg a nice wiggle. Roll that foot around, twist those toes. And then go ahead and bring both feet wide on the mat. Place the hands behind you, and we'll just let each leg fall to each side of the mat. Going as fast or as slow as is comfortable. Maybe holding one side down a little bit longer. And then we'll bring the legs up, walk the feet back so they're back in the center of the mat. And we'll slowly start to make our way all the way down onto our mats. Bringing the knees into the chest, taking a hold behind the legs and slowly rocking side to side. And we'll come to the center, releasing the hands down to the side so they're like a T. We'll take the knees, place them directly over the hips, still bent, And just start to draw some little bitty circles or some big circles on the ceiling with those knees. Giving ourselves a nice little massage on that sacrum. Continuing in one direction. And then we'll go ahead and change the direction of those legs. Again, drawing those circles as big or as comfortable, or big or as small as comfortable to you. Maybe alternating between the sizes. And then we'll bring them back center. Straighten those legs one time, wiggle those toes, point the heels, circle the feet, and then let the feet come down onto the mat. Let the legs come all the way down. And we'll do one last stretch, taking those hands up overhead, stretching the hands up, stretching those legs down. Full body stretch like we're just waking up in the morning. And then relax the legs, relax the arms. And let the feet fall wherever's comfortable. Bringing those arms down by the sides. We'll close our eyes. Start to focus on our breath. Feeling the inhales coming in throughout the body. And the exhales leaving the body. Feeling the warmth from our practice covering us. Feeling ourselves sink deeper into our mats. Starting to clear the mind. Any thoughts that you might have. Start to let the tension go from the body. Feeling leaving the body with each exhale. Feeling the stresses from the day just melt away. Taking these next few minutes to just be with yourself, to not have anything to do, not have anything to think about, to just sink and relax into our mats. You slowly start to bring a little life back into the body by wiggling the fingers and the toes. Roll the wrists and the ankles. Rock the head from side to side. Into deep in the inhales and exhales. And slowly take one foot, place it on the mat, and we'll follow it by the other foot. And then bring one knee into the chest, followed by the other. We'll take a hold of the legs and slowly rock side to side. And we'll roll onto our right side. With our right side grounded by the earth, leaving our left side open to the sun, the moon, and the stars, and all the gifts that the universe has to offer you today. When you feel ready, come up to a comfortable seated position. And we'll take both hands, place them in front of the heart. We'll close our eyes one last time. Take a deep inhale. And exhale it all out. Thank you for sharing your practice with me this evening. Have a great rest of your night. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.